bushings. I keep putting it off, but today I think I'm gonna actually attempt it. So start by taking them off, and then I have exhaust pliers, which are the perfect size to push those bushings out. And that one fell into place easier than I thought. A couple little taps to get it all the way down, but now it's in there and everything is as tighter than it's ever been, really. So yeah, that was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. I pulled that one out just to make it, just so I didn't have to fight with it down in there so far. But all in all, that was like a 10-minute install, so there's that off the list. Just drain the oil out of it. Actually still looks relatively good for just being, I think it was just motor oil we put in it a couple years ago. I have beat the hell out of it, but it definitely doesn't have a smell or anything to it. I'm just gonna flush it with some AMS oil, well, change it out with some AMS oil, and then change that shifter. The bushings, I drove it home last night, the bushings made a huge difference, so I assume that the shifter's gonna make just as big of a difference. There we go. And we just see if I find a hose to add that from up top. If not, I'll pump it in through the side though. I did find a hose. This goes down in right there at the back. Super easy. But this is the biggest funnel I can find to fit in the hose, so it's going to take an eternity to fill it.
One eternity later.
There it is. It's starting to come out. I ended up putting yeah, there we go. I ended up putting pretty much 2 liters in there before it started coming out, and now it's probably gonna just piss out like crazy. It's supposed to be around like 1.5 or something, but whatever. And the torque spec is whatever you want it to be, and replace the crush washer if you want, but only if you want. Next thing I'm going to do is change this shifter finally out with the hybrid short shifter. I've felt this before I got this shifter, and there's definitely a big difference between this and the stock one. I also have it set to the absolute shortest shifts I can, so I'm really hoping that this is a pretty easy install. I think the hardest part is usually just getting the clips out of the bottom there and the clips off of there for the shifter cables. But all in all, it's just 4 bolts, so we'll start by taking the centerpiece apart. And just like that, it's apart. It's just as I thought. It's literally just 4 bolts around the outside. And then the shifter hosings. And I will see if I can turn the light on. And way down there are the clips. So this doesn't look too bad, but see how much I have to fight to get those clips out in just a moment. So I adjusted it pretty far, not as far as all the threads would go, but enough that there's a good amount of thread still in there, and this is a bit of an issue. So I'm gonna have to get the wrench out and just adjust it back far enough that it clears there. As far as I can tell, this one shouldn't interfere with anything. But yeah, that was interesting that I can adjust that way past there and it hits the bracket. But yeah, that's easy enough fix. Just break the nut free and thread it in a little bit. So I adjusted it. I was gonna leave it a little closer than that, but I figured I might as well leave it out just a little bit. Now I just have to tighten this nut back up. It's that easy to adjust. So the hardest part is those, but all you do is turn them. If you turn them counterclockwise, they pop out, and then if you turn them clockwise while pushing them in, they kind of pop in and out. The only issue is just the limited amount of space that's in there. So aside from that, it's really not that hard. So you just basically, I got this one on super easy, which I thought was going to be the hardest out of the two because it's the tightest. And then I just loosened all the bolts off to kind of line it up a little bit straighter with that one. And then I kind of had to put a flathead screwdriver in there for a little bit of extra push, but once it started to go, you just gave it a good push and it went right on. And then for these, to take them off, you take these little metal pieces off, you just pull it to the side like that, and then push it down, and then just push them back, put them back on before you try to push it on these, and they'll just pop right back on because these spring clips will stay into place and push out of the way just enough to get the ball in and then clip around it. But all in all, that took I think it was about 30 minutes to install that. About 30 minutes to at least get it back in anyways, maybe 45 minutes to install the whole thing. I ended up pulling out the top piece though just so I had more room, and having my snap-on light in there really just kind of helped a lot. But I think you could fully do this without pulling the top piece if you really wanted. Plus, I only have one bracket in mine, usually, so it's not like it's overcomplicated for me to pull that whole entire system out and just throw it on the floor. But yeah, and now it's time to put it back. It's still dirty. I'll clean it up later, but it's all back together now. And this is way shorter, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put I don't know if anyone would have noticed, but there was elastic bands underneath here, and it actually pulls the boot up tight. It's been like that for years, and it hasn't torn the boot or nothing, so unfortunately, they were all broken, so I threw them out. So I'm gonna have to get new ones to get that collar back up. But once the collar's back up, it'll be nice and good. But yeah, now I just have to go road test everything, but fresh fluid, shifter bushings, and hybrid short shifter should definitely make a big difference. The transmission has about 400,000 kilometers on it, but all in all, it's been pretty good. I just noticed lately, if you kind of shift really hard from first to second, sometimes it would end up like kind of grinding, or at least being really crappy feeling. But it's had motor oil in it for the last at least 3, maybe 4 years, and I've been too lazy to switch it out because I didn't really care. Works fine for what it is. So I traded, I think, a pair of headlights for this transmission fluid, so I figured after years of it being in the shed, I might as well just put it in the car that I got it for. So yeah, I'll just throw the intake back on, and we will be good to go. I don't make the Civic videos very often. Well, I haven't made any Civic videos actually. This whole car has been overhauled. Everything on this car has been touched at least once, and it was painted once horribly, but it was painted once. So if anybody really wants more videos on this or anything, comment, like, subscribe, all that crap. And it's not that I don't want to make videos on the Civic, it's just the Civic is literally a daily driver with almost 500,000 kilometers on it, and I just beat the hell out of it and just drive it. I'm rarely doing mods like this to it. I'm basically just putting aftermarket things on things that break to make it a little better, and honestly, it's so stupidly reliable that it's not even funny. So I'm just kind of just driving it every day right now. But I figured since I had this pile of parts that were all kind of to do with each other, I would just make a video of the whole. Essentially, this is what I would consider transmission service on this car. So yeah, if you like it, let me know. I'll try to make more. I might even make a breakdown on everything that has been done to the car, because a lot of people do like the car because it's a lot different than most of them since it's been overhauled. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. So see ya.